Hey y'all, I don't know where my voice was going that quick. Welcome to the realm of Kidlit Comics, where we discuss everything comics, manga, graphic novels, kidlit, adult. We just do a little bit of everything. I have so much stuff on this table, it's absolutely ridiculous. So, as you can see from the title of this video, we are finally doing the thing. I have been wanting to do a bookshelf tour for a very, very long time, and I haven't done it. And that's super unfortunate. I have a massive collection, like a massive collection. We're talking 1,500 plus books. 1,500 was the last count I've done, and I have stopped documenting the way that I need to document. So I know that there's probably more that I have not really taken account for. So I thought that, and I don't think I've ever done a bookshelf tour on this channel. So I thought it is time for me to essentially do a bookshelf tour and give y'all an overview, a perspective of all the books that I own, right? This is going to take some time. I'm going to do it piece by piece. I haven't decided yet whether we are going to do this like unit by unit, or if we're going to just do it in multiple parts. I haven't decided, but what I did know was that with the amount of books that I own, there's no way that I could possibly do one massive bookshelf tour. I just can't. There is absolutely no way. At the time of filming this piece of it, I've already done and edited the footage for the first one that you're about to see, which is just a special edition. And that footage by itself, without the introduction and the closing, is probably a little over 30 minutes. And that's not, like, that's a lot for a little bit of content. And I have a lot more content on these shelves downstairs. So I'm just going to figure it out, and then we're just going to go with it and see how things kind of work out. So the first shelf that we're going to be doing is one of the shelves that I do have upstairs, and it is my special edition shelf. And then after that, we'll come downstairs and we will attempt to figure out how we're going to do this. This is a great way for me to kind of catalog what I own and really think about what I need to read, which is the vast majority of it, and then also what I need to start culling down. So sit back, get yourself a drink, a snack, and absolutely enjoy the bookshelf tour. Okay, y'all, welcome to the first bookshelf. This is gonna be kind of hard because my tripod actually is not tall enough to reach this, and I just want to go ahead and let you know that this shelf is an absolute mess. Okay, like, it is an absolute mess. There's two more shelves below this shelf, and we're going to get to those in a second. So I do, for the most part, have these color coordinated and my child likes to put her artwork and all types of just shenanigans on here, just notes that she leaves me. They're absolutely adorable. Actually, not one over. Okay, so we have Wild Reverence. This is the owlcrate edition that they had, the deluxe edition that they had, which I think is really, really pretty. I still haven't read this one. I do need to read it. I'm just going to slide this back in here for right now because I'm not going to fight with the box. But this is the owlcrate edition of Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. So this is a really, really pretty one, and I wish I had the time to go through all the end papers and everything else. It will be a whole lot for me to do that, right? So you can kind of get an idea of what some of these books look like. And here we have Alluriel's Bloodbound, and then we have Half City by Kate Golden. This is the fairylook edition, and I try to keep the fairylook cards in here so I can remember the month. Of course, since acquiring this, I have since quit the fairylook romantasy. It was not doing anything for me when it's all said and done. Then we have All of Us Villains by Amanda Foody and Christine Lynn Herman. I don't remember what, I think this is a Goldsboro edition. I'm not sure. And then here we have The Wolf and the Crown of Blood. This is a owlcrate edition that I got secondhand at a cheaper price than what it's being sold. This one I think is still actually available. See if I can straighten up a little bit, because that's kind of wild. I was doing that. I think that one is still available on their website right now. And then we have the owlcrate version of Good Spirits. I was able to get the sequel of this one. Don't make me lie and say what the name of the sequel for this one is, or companion, but I did get the owlcrate edition of that one as well. And then we have the fairylook edition, no, this is the owlcrate edition, sorry, of Stage Set for Villains. I've heard really good things about this one. This is a standalone fantasy, and I really like this one, and I got this one, I think this was the last owlcrate book that I got as part of their subscription, because I don't have owlcrate anymore either. And then as we continue on, this is Fairylook's Gravewood by Kelly Andrews. We have The Nightblood Prince, which I have read. I think this might be the only one on this shelf that I have read. Yeah, this is the only one on this shelf that I have read, and this was Fairylook's, right? Yes, this is a Fairylook edition from last year, and I really enjoyed that one. And then we have the Book of Asriel. These are the Tradpub special editions. So it's book 1, and then this is book 2, The Throne of Broken Gods, which I need to read both of those. So I do have some adjustments to make. I'm going to put these back up here so I remember to put the books back in there. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this one. So there's going to be, like, when we get to this shelf right here, this is where it's going to get a little bit messy, because these are books that I have recently acquired, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to kind of jigsaw them in. So we'll figure that out. But I do have my copy of Sunsplitter here, which this is one that I do plan on reading relatively soon, because I just read Voidwalker and really enjoyed it. But this is the illumicrate version, and I think it's absolutely gorgeous. So I'm gonna move that one up here. All right, so starting over here, we have Son of the Morning. This is by Akweke Emeze. This is an illumicrate version. This was an Afterlight exclusive. It's interesting because this is the largest like Afterlight book that I've seen. They're usually in B format, which is those smaller versions, but I think this is really pretty. I do have that queued up to read. You're gonna see there's a theme in this shelf. I think I haven't read most of what's on this shelf, so there's that. I have The Last Hour Between Worlds. This is when I originally became a part of illumicrate's fantasy subscription, and I don't think I kind of like had a good feel for what I wanted to do in terms of subscription boxes, so I think I got this book and then immediately canceled it. I was very new to the world of subscription boxes and special editions, but I've heard really good things about that one. Great queer fantasy book. And then I have The Listeners by Maggie Stiefvater. This is the Fairylook edition of this book. I am nervous about this book. As pretty as it may be, I have not heard the best things about it. Now, I was just excited because it was Maggie Stiefvater, but I don't know. I haven't heard good things. This is a recent Fairylook YA, Her Hidden Fires, as in like a 2026. And I think this is a beautiful book as well. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this is based off of some Celtic mythology. And then this is when I was a part of the cozy fantasy for Fairyloot, but honestly, I just feel like the box, like Fairyloot boxes have a tendency to blend, right? I think a lot of their books can be in other boxes, and that's part of the issue, is that you don't feel like you're getting much variety between their adult, their cozy fantasy, and their romantasy. And I do feel like after a while they have a tendency to blend together. I'm very interested in their epic fantasy box. I do like their YA box because I am an avid YA reader, but outside of that, it's just kind of, you know. So I got 2 books from the cozy, and then I also dropped that. So this was the first book that they did, which is the Mystical Cat Shelter, although illumicrate and owlcrate both did really, really beautiful editions of that book as well. This is a Fairyloot that I did a reverse on because I did not like or is this an owlcrate? I genuinely can't remember. This actually might be an owlcrate. Yeah, this is an owlcrate edition. I didn't like the cover that they chose. And this is the House of Sapphire, I believe. It's Marissa Meyer's latest. I did not like the cover that they chose, so I immediately reversed it. I do need to read that. I started that and then didn't continue. This is Fairyloot, Air of Storms, like this one so much that I did end up getting the sequel, which was Tides of Fortune. So I think this is absolutely gorgeous. This is a 4-star read for me. Very much so elemental magic system. Just really enjoyed it. Enjoyed it more than what I thought I would. And I actually might do a reread of Air of Storms before I get into Tides of Fortune. Then we have another Fairyloot, which is Coldwire by Chloe Gong. This is almost sci-fi-ish more than fantasy. I'm interested to see if Fairyloot is going to do the rest of the series because the sequel for this comes out this year. So I thought that this one was really pretty as well. Like, just the artwork choice in this one was really, really nice. I just like the way that book feels. If that even makes sense. Now, this is not my stuffed animal. Once again, I have allowed my child to decorate this bookshelf. So here we have, this was a Fairyloot romantasy. I can't remember what month this was. I'm sorry, y'all. I am trying very hard with this tripod and I'm failing miserably. This one I've heard is kind of mid. I don't know. There's some questionable things in terms of disability representation, but that is probably one of the most beautiful hardcovers, like naked hardcovers, that they've done in terms of just the artwork. It is very, very pretty. And almost like you could just display that instead of the actual cover, because I think that naked hardcover is prettier than the actual cover itself. Now, some of these are not like from book boxes. Some of these are just sprayed edges, like Anathema. If I was gonna get that out, by Carrie Lake. This is that's just the sprayed edge edition, and I found that on eBay very, very cheap. I think it's harder to get that edition, the deluxe edition. Same thing with this Hollow by the Twisted Sisters. I think that that's pretty, like just the standard deluxe edition. The Wren and the Holly Library. I've heard mixed things about this one, but I got this book for $5. So we're going to read it and see what happens. And then the other book that I've read on this shelf is The Glittering Edge. I feel like The Glittering Edge for me is like a true YA book. And I'm debating whether I want to continue this series or not. I may have to do a reread, but I think it was a solid, I think I gave it 4 stars if I'm not mistaken. But it definitely is a true YA book in a time where it's hard to find true YA books. But I also did like the artwork. Very good for October season. Okay, so that's that shelf. We're gonna drop down now. So some of these are my new acquisitions, and I don't know where I'm gonna put them, which is why they're stacked weirdly like this. So we have the Unicorn Hunters. I literally just showed this one by Catherine Arden. Haven't had the chance to read this one yet, but I have read Catherine Arden, so I'm excited to get to that one. We have the Ballad of Fallen Dragons by Sarah A. Parker. This is the sequel to When the Moon Hatched. Super excited to get into this one because while When the Moon Hatched wasn't necessarily like my favorite fantasy, I did enjoy the time that I had with it. I just talked about this one in a book haul. This book is heavy. All We Hunger For. This is an owlcrate YA book. It's just super heavy. Now you're gonna ask me, how many of these have you read? That's funny. We have Little Mushroom, which was the Don May. This is a sci-fi Don May. I just put it up here because it has the sprayed edges. I'm trying to keep all of my books organized in some way. I'm gonna move that one down because I'll showcase that one later. We have Weaving Shaw, which I have read this one and really enjoyed it, and I'm definitely looking forward to the sequel. I hope that Fairylook does, like, this is absolutely gorgeous. I hope Fairylook does the rest of the books, but then I feel like I'm gonna have to fight people for the early access to get a copy of it, because this is, like, that's just pretty. Like, I adore that. Those are beautiful. These three over here, this is an owlcrate copy of Our Infinite Fates. I'm not a huge fan of the design, and that was one of the first things I noticed, is that I am not a fan of owlcrate's designs. Like, this is, compared to what you typically see, I just feel like that's kind of, it's lackluster. It's not the best work that they could have done. Then we have some Allurial. So this was an August pick. The Dark in Her Veins. These don't usually have too much going on in terms of the artwork. It's usually like the same image, just reversed on the front and the back. But they do have a tendency to change the actual cover of the book. So I do like that. They did not change the cover on Stillborn, though. This is the exact same cover. The edges are like, okay, nothing to brag home about, but I did want to read this book because I've heard so much about it. All right, now getting into the actual shelf. So we have A Language of Dragons. This I had to get secondhand because I was not a part of Fairylook YA when it originally came out, and loved this book so much. I really did enjoy this book. So I ended up getting this. I got it at price. So whatever the person paid for it, which is like $35, is what I got for it as well. I think these are some of the most insanely beautiful stenciled edges. And then the interior artwork is nice as well. But yeah, I hope they do the final book in the series, which comes out January of next year. And then this is the sequel. Absolutely beautiful. Just gorgeous. Now, have I read the sequel yet? No, I haven't. I have not read the sequel at all. But even the naked hardcovers on these are very, very pretty. I almost want to do a reread, but then part of me is like, why don't you just wait until book 3 comes out? This is not a book subscription box. This is just Mayhem and the Mortal by Shanora Williams. That is the standard deluxe edition. And then this is a Fairylook YA, which is Stormbreaker. Very purple. I feel like Fairylook's been doing a lot of like purples, like a lot of cool colors this year. I could be wrong, but I haven't read that one yet. I don't think I've read, oh yeah, I've read one more on this shelf. No, I've read 2 more on this shelf, so that's a good thing. This is the last cozy fantasy book that I received, The Faraway Inn by Sarah Beth Durst. And this was a YA book. So that's what I'm saying. Like, they chose this for a cozy fantasy box when this easily could have just been a YA pick. So I'm just very confused about that. I did think that the artwork, the interior in this one was really nice as well, and I am excited to pick it up, but just confused about how we make decisions about things. S.A. Barnes Romantasy, debut Romantasy, Death's Daughter. That's what I said, a lot of cool colors that they're doing, except this one does have a warmer hue in the back, but a lot of purples and stuff. So I don't think this one has been getting as great reviews, to be honest, to be fair. Oh gosh, I should have rated this book higher than what I did. Thorn Season, they just announced that they are doing the sequel to Thorn Season, and I couldn't be more excited for it. I constantly think about this book. As much as I don't like to admit it, I constantly think about this book, and it's definitely, it's one that I need to, I don't know. I need to go back and think about my rating on this one. I really do. But one of my favorite YA releases that they've done outside of A Language of Dragons. That one's just, it's just a really, really good fantasy book. And then these, I'm gonna move y'all over. These are, see if I can tilt this up just a tad, just a smidge. I don't think I can without it being like a drastic. There we go. These are illumicrate. This is the dragon and the sun lotus, and then the scorpion and the night blossom. I know fairylook has done versions of these as well, but I really did like the illumicrate editions. I think together they're just really, really pretty. Like, they're just really, really nice. The only downside is that illumicrate typically doesn't do anything on the just jackets, but they've started to in some instances, but not always. But they do have nice interior artwork as well. So I'm excited to dive into that. We have The Swan's Daughter, which I just sold. I got 2 copies of this, so I just recently sold it at a cheaper price than what I would have paid for it. So but this one is pretty too. I do think for me, for this one, like, I wasn't a huge fan of the stencil. I just felt like it could have done a little bit more with this one in terms of design elements. And we have Unravel the Dusk. I do have Spin the Dawn. It's somewhere on my side table because I was reading it at one point. I need to go back to it. Then this was another Romantasy, The Wicked Sea, which was a mermaid-esque book. I know a lot of people want this edition of this book. I have to read it first. If I read it and I don't like it, it cannot stay. And I don't price gouge on things that I've paid for, right? Like, I'll sell it to you at list price or cheaper. This is just the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition of Warrior Princess Assassin. I love this book so much. It was so good. I have seen fairylook editions of that book because I know they did it, and I'm very much so debating getting it because I really, really enjoyed that book. I only like owning multiple copies of a book when it's a book that I've loved. Never Ever After by Sue Lynn Tan, which I need to read. I have, because they're doing the sequel to this one, and I have a fairylook edition coming of the other series that she did. So I need to get on that. And then last on this shelf, we have The Floating World by Axio, which I haven't read, which is wild because I like Axio, and I've read a couple of novels by Axio. I just have not read this one. So a lot of stuff on that shelf I haven't read. I'm gonna drop y'all down. So it might be kind of hard from this angle, but we're gonna go with it. We're gonna work with it. This is one I didn't show in a book haul, which is The Strange Familiars. This is an owlcrate book. I had some points left from when I was a subscriber and I was buying stuff. So I used my points to get this one. The only thing I had to do was pay for shipping on this, which was like 10 bucks. So I got this for 10 bucks. Not a huge fan of the design. I really just like supporting marginalized authors that get special editions. They often don't get a lot of opportunities for special editions, so when they do, I do like to support. So this one is the fairylook edition of the Honey Witch, and it's pretty. Now that's definitely cozy fantasy vibes. This is, I think this was a romantasy pick. Yeah, this was a romantasy pick. Verity Guild. So I haven't read this one either. We're going to see that same theme over and over and over again. Ashley hasn't read such and such. It's fine though. The Wind Weaver I have read, and I did like it, but I didn't know if fairylook was going to do the sequel to it or not. So I went ahead and decided to buy it, and yeah. So now I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do, if I'm going to keep the one that I bought, or because fairylook still has the sequel and special edition for sale. So I have to make that decision, right? I have one of the epic fantasy books, which I bought secondhand, which was the Book of Fallen Leaves. This one did have just a tad bit of damage to the back of it, but I didn't mind. They sold it to me at a lower price than I would have paid for it anywhere else. So I was like, that little bit of damage is not that big of a deal. This one is really pretty. Just the interior artwork is really nice, and they're not moving at all with their epic fantasy. It's a quarterly box. It's only 4 books a year, but I'm really interested in it. Then I know that everyone is not a fan of this book, Graceless Heart by Isabel Ibanez. I wanted to give it a go. I got this book for $20. And so I was like, you know what? Because the person who was selling it, she was like, I just don't like get it out of my house. And I was like, okay. And she was like, please, just, I don't want it anymore. So I was like, okay, I'll get it. But yeah, another fantasy. I think that this year owlcrate and fairylook have been doing a lot of the same books, and it's been aggravating people to no end. So I know that there's a lot of crossover between the two, and as someone who's done subscriptions, like, I do get how that can be frustrating, especially if you have both subscription boxes and it's kind of like, you know, I don't want duplicate copies of a book that I have not read. So that's kind of the downside. I do have Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. This is just the standard deluxe edition, you know, special edition. And then I do own the coveted Shield of Sparrows, these editions, which are the deluxe editions. A lot of people, because these go out so quick, like in terms of like they get sold so quickly. But I know fairylook did too, but I was like, I'm good with just these. I think these together are really nice. And then this is the Allurial version of Kissed by the Gods, which it's okay. This is the standard. No, this is not the Allurial version. This is just the standard deluxe edition of Kissed by the Gods. That's what it was. That's not the Allurial. That's the regular edition. This is the standard deluxe edition of the Ballad of Falling Dragons. Now this one I did not buy. This was sent to me, and so that's why I have it, because you're probably like, I thought you didn't do duplicates. So I have the fairylook edition and I have this edition, and I don't know if I'm going to give either one of them up, depending upon how I feel about the book. I want to read it first and then we'll see how it goes. Treachery of Swans. Okay, so A.B. Poranek did another book that, and I can't call the name of the book right now. I adored it. I loved it. And when I saw that illumicrate had this on their website, and I wasn't a subscriber, I was like, oh, I definitely want this book. Now, I do think that the stenciled edges are not the best, but really, really good storytelling. Haven't read it, but I've read their other book and I trust their writing. Then we have Alchemy Secrets by Stephanie Garber. This is the owlcrate edition. Not my favorite. Not my favorite, but you know, nevertheless, it's here. We do have it. Then we have the fairylook edition of Arcana Academy. I do not have the sequel. They sold out of the sequel really, really quickly. And I hadn't read the first book yet, so I wasn't itching to get the sequel to that one. All right, gonna drop you down one more time. Okay, so getting this bottom shelf is gonna be really, really hard. Book that and this is a mess because I was going through, because I do have some special edition things that I am getting rid of. So I am, let's see if I do it this way. I am selling And Now Back to You by BK Borison. This is the owlcrate exclusive edition. Just, I don't need it. That's the best way I can put it. I don't need it, so I don't need to hold on to it. Here we have the Deathly Fates. That is the Fairycrate edition, which I love the cover of that one. And then we have Blood Moon, which is the owlcrate edition. I don't know. I, once again, have not heard good things about this one, but I'm gonna wait to read it and then make my decision. That was upside down. This is A Flame and Fury by Michaela Bridge. Once again, I'm not a fan of the design. Like owlcrate, this was my uphill battle with owlcrate when I was a subscriber, even for their YA books, is that their designs are not worth, like this is another owlcrate. Salvacion, I do want to read this one too. I just think that the story sounds interesting, but their design is just, it doesn't always work for me. Now this one is an owlcrate one that I did like, which is A Forgery of Fate by Elizabeth Lim. I did end up really liking the way that this one turned out, even down to like the stenciled edges here, and the inside of this one is also like just very, very, the artwork, whoever they got to do the artwork for this one just did an excellent job. That's one of my favorite owlcrate books to date. The Beast We Bury. I have the audio for this one. I need to get on it, but I'm not like, it hasn't been a high priority. Then we have The Nightland Express. I forget who did that book. That wasn't anybody that I typically know in terms of special editions. And that one was gifted to me. So still need to read that one. Definitely excited to read this one, which is Until the Clock Strikes Midnight. That book is absolutely beautiful. It did good with that. We have, this was another owlcrate one that I did like. Violet Thistlewaite is not a villain anymore. And I met Emily Krimholtz recently, like March. Absolute delightful human. Absolutely a joy to be around. This is, and the one I'm about to show you is an illumicrate Afterlight book, and it's Enemies to Lovers by Alicia Rye. I also used to have Afterlight, but I was not a huge fan of the selections that they had, so I decided to get rid of it. I did end up getting, I think Happy Ending might have been my last book that I got from them, by Chloe Lees. I think this was the last one I got. There, I will say, the Afterlight Naked hardcovers are something to be envious of. Okay? These naked hardcovers are some of the best naked hardcovers that I've seen for special edition books. But the books that they end up picking are not always books that I am a fan of. We also have Starshipped. This was an Afterlight pick. Like, you know, it's the under the dust jacket with them that's always great. But I do like this one, the Build a Boyfriend Project, and I like the book. That was really, really good. I enjoyed that one. And then we also have Love is a War Song That was that an after? Yeah, that was an Afterlight as well. And then from illumicrate, not illumicrate, these are from owlcrate. This was a nice set. We have the T. Kingfisher got the Sworn Soldier series. So what moves the dead, what feasts at night, and what stalks the deep. I don't think that was the correct order, but that's okay. So I try to keep all of my B format books down here. So I have a couple more, like, this is one that I'm actually in the process of reading. And this was my last fairylook YA book, and I was not, like, the design was not my favorite. And it's Behind Five Willows. Like, it was okay, but I felt like the artwork was kind of blurred, but I'm currently reading that one, so I'm gonna put that one up there. And then some other things that are, once again, they're not necessarily deluxe, like, sorry, they're not special editions, they're just deluxe standard editions. And so we have Upon Me for Two, which I really did enjoy that book. And then we also have Fable for the End of the World. Just smaller books. Oh, another one that I'm selling, but I did enjoy it, Love and Focus by Lila Lee. This is an Afterlight book. I read it. It was 3 stars. I don't need to keep it. So that's currently posted on my Pango. So both of these, if you're interested, are posted on my Pango. At reasonable prices, mind you. And then we have Domcom, which it'll probably be easier to see it over here, which I need to read. So I need to take, I have a couple more. Hold on. All right, sorry, y'all. I have a few more editions. This is on a different shelf that I'm not going to include in this one because this is all about special editions. I'll include the top part of this shelf in another installment, but these right here are the Broken Binding editions of John Gwynn's books. I literally have the other 2 downstairs, but I haven't unboxed them yet, and I'm gonna save those for the July book haul video. This Malice and Valor, these are gorgeous. I mean, gorgeous. They're beautiful, and they have like a full map in them and everything. Like, these are really, really nice. I quit my Broken Binding edition, and I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I got right back on the list. I got right back on the list because why not? And then these are the prettiest owlcrate books that I have seen them do to date. Move these out the way. These are the prettiest. Let me tell you something. The prettiest owlcrate books to date. Metal Slinger and Light Wielder. They did their big one with these. These are gorgeous. They are absolutely spectacular. Down to just the binding is nice. The artwork is nice. I am ready to read the story. They are signed. These are pretty. And I just happened to get those because I looked at my phone at work and it was like, get it while you can. And I clicked it, and like 5 minutes later, they were sold out. So I'm glad I got it. This is Shadow Reaper by Lynette Noni. This is a fairylook book that came out. This might have been the June book. I think this was the June book. I'm pretty sure this was the June book. Like, massive. It's a massive book, but it's pretty. And then we have Rebecca Ross. These are illumicrate editions. A River Enchanted, A Fire Endless. I like Rebecca Ross's writing, which is why I felt comfortable buying these, even having not read them. The artwork is pretty. I think the cover designs are nice, and the stencil edges definitely fit with the vibe. And then we have 2 Allurial books, which is Dominion and The Wing Game, which these look drastically different from their original covers. So I was not a huge fan of the stencil edges for Dominion, but I liked this cover and I liked the Wing Game and the stenciled edges. And this was the most diverse list that they had to date when I got those 2 books. So I definitely wanted to jump on that. All right, y'all. So that is the end of the first part of this bookshelf tour. That was just the special editions. And as I'm sitting down here, I see special editions that I didn't even have upstairs on that shelf. There's stuff that's still in boxes that I haven't unboxed. There are still things that were pre-orders that are still coming in. I did all this stuff prior to my cancellations, right? So I still have stuff trickling in. I actually literally got 2 emails today about stuff that is getting shipped to me, and I'm like, goodness gracious, like, what? You know, you go from not doing that much book buying to, oh, you know, I've got some cushion funds, I'm going to get some books, and then you're like, oh my goodness gracious, I got some books, and I got a lot of books. So there is that. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, click the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. If you're looking to follow me on social media, all those links will be down in the description box below. Remember, I did say that as I am unhauling and getting rid of things, I will be posting them on my Pango, so make sure you check out that Pango down in the description box below as well. And be on the lookout for the next installment of the bookshelf tour. I decided to take this on, and now I'm like, girl, why? What is the reason? What is the reason? All right, y'all. Bye.